Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Scraptember combined with 30 days of sketches. Today's sketch, we are using this beautiful wreath sketch, and I can't read where it's from, so I can't tell you where it's from, but I really like it. It's really cool because a lot of times you get those wreath sketches and they just have one photo on it, and this one had four. And I'm just going to use three photos, but one's large and two are smaller, and so I thought that would be a really good one for that. So I took these punches. One is from EK Success, the other is from Stampin' Up, and I punched all of these flowers out of white cardstock. And then I pulled out my shimmers and I lined everything up there, as you can see. And then I decided to go and paint them all. And I have 5 colors out there, and the colors I have are Corny Flower Blue. And that is the one that is like the bottom right-hand side that I'm using right now. And then I have Purple Rain, which is the darkest purple. I have Plum Crazy, which is the top one. And then I also have Beats Me, which is the top one on the left-hand side. And I have Black Cherry. And I think I got one of those colors wrong because, let's see here. I believe Purple Rain is actually the bottom left. So anyway, those were the 5 colors that I used, and I decided what I did is I went through and I did one of each flower in each color, and then I just kept going until I ran out, and I kind of cycled through them a couple of times. And then to do the leaves, I am using Emerald City and I'm Not Lyman, and those are both Inklings. The other ones were a mixture of Inklings and Creamies. And I really like how they come out. They came out really, really pretty. And so I am going to make my own wreath out of these flowers. I just had to go ahead and let them dry a little bit. And then I pull out, I have this round mouse pad. It's kind of foamy. And I pull out a stylus and I am just kind of depressing in the center of each flower and giving it a wiggle kind of in a circular motion to cup the flowers so that they have added dimension. And the little tiny ones, I had to use a smaller stylus because that other one that I'm using is a little bit too big for those tiny flowers. And it's not really a stylus, it's a Tim Holtz tool. I don't even know what it's for, actually. It was just in my bag. I'm sure I could figure it out if I went and played with it a little bit more. And then I pulled out my jewel picker tool. Anything that has a round barrel would work to curl up the edges of the leaves or curl back the edges of the leaves. And so my wreath is going to start out with this beautiful, beautiful wood cut wreath design. And it's supposed to be a lot smaller, but when it came, it had one break in it because it's super delicate. And that's not even really a problem because, as you can tell there, you just kind of put it back together and nobody would even know the difference. But I decided that since I actually broke it when I was messing around with it, I would just spread it out a little bit and then it would be larger, and that would be perfect to hold 3 photos. I don't think I would have been able to get 3 photos around a 7-inch wreath or 7.5 inch, somewhere around in there. But this beautiful piece came from MK Gunn over at Some Assemblage Required, and she has her own Etsy store. And I can link that down below. I don't know that she still has the wreath available because I've had it for quite some time in my stash, just waiting for the perfect moment to use it. But she has really unique things and really awesome things and great prices, and she ships really quick. And so I highly, highly recommend her shop. Okay, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and glue all that down. I got it into somewhat of a circle. It's a little bit more oval than circle, but that's okay. And then I am popping up my photos onto some foam tape. I actually had to double pop them up because the wood was a little bit more thick than one layer of foam, and so I didn't want my photos to kind of like get bent from the wreath wherever because they were sunk down a little bit. So I just decided I'm going to go with a double, even though it's a little bit more than what I need. It's the only thickness that I have in this. My other one is I think was not quite the right size. So anyway, and then I just glue all of that down with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. So I'm really liking how that's looking. I do know that I want to pop up a couple of the corners here just to add some extra support because I don't want those corners to get depressed in my album either. And then I realized I put it on the wrong corner. And so, yeah, a little bit of trial and error here, but I do love how it turns out. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I like the way that it's turned out. That background paper is from Paige Evans. I believe it's from her Horizon collection. It's a really old one. It's either Horizon or Bloom Street. So it's pretty old. It's been in my stash for a while. But I like it because it has all of those pinks and purples, and it even has a little hint of blues. And so that is why I chose the colors that I chose for my flowers. You will see that I did add a blue flower in there. I don't have the name of it, but if I had to guess, it would be Blue Lagoon. And then the darker, there is a darker blue one, and I believe that one would be either Lapis Dance or Witch's Blue. And so they're very similar in color. So I went ahead and decided just to start nestling those together and creating little clumps of flowers. So little gatherings of flowers. I really like how it looks. It's kind of a fun design and a little bit different. I had thought about using those green leaves. They don't make it on the layout at all. So I will end up using them on a different layout, I'm sure, and they will go into my little bin of green ephemera or stickers, and they'll be there when I need them. So while I place those, I'll remind you that there are links to everyone who is playing along down below in my description box. And then we've got people playing along every day. We've got people playing along once a week. We've got people playing along just when they can. And so definitely go check them out. I do know that Christy at Christy's Beautiful Life and Katie and Jessica over at the Scrappy Sisters and Laura Alberts, they are all playing along every day because these two series belong to them. And I'm really just thrilled to be a part of it, and I'm glad that they are doing this and that they have included everyone in this series because it is so much fun and it provides so much inspiration. Speaking about inspiration, the prompt for Scraptember for this, for today, which is day 11, is to use enamel dots or Nuvo drops. And I am not a huge Nuvo drop fan, but you know what? I busted out the Nuvo drops. I have a ton of them. You can see them in the upper right hand corner there of my screen. I've got them all upside down, so they're getting prepped to be used, and they are going to be the center of my flowers. And I don't know, haven't used Nuvo drops in a video in quite some time, just because they're not my favorite thing to use. I get really annoyed with the dry time, and then I also get annoyed because I have swatched all of my Nuvo drops, and then the paper got put underneath a bunch of other things, and the tops of them were a little bit flat, and that made me a little not so happy. So I would rather just invest in my enamel dots to use as enamel dots. But in this case, it doesn't bother me because, you know, the center of flowers are never perfect. They are never all the same size. They are never always domed the same or anything like that. So in this case, it didn't bother me at all. So I am embracing the imperfection of them. And I really like the way that it comes out. So I have all those glued down. You saw me lift it up to make sure everything was glued down, and one sure enough fell off. And so I just kind of finished up putting those down and making sure they're down. And here I am just going to apply the Nuvo drops. I am going with, for the most part, a bit of tone on tone. I don't have the perfect color for every single one of those, but I do decide to do the tone on tone, and then I have that one that's just the sparkle. It doesn't have a color, so I use that as well. And I really like how it's turning out. So if Nuvo drops is something that you have a lot of, this is a great way to use some of them. A couple other ways that I have used them, I've used them in mixed media through stencils, just like squirt a bunch out onto your mixed media mat and pick it up with your stencil and put it through, or pick it up with your spatula and put it through a stencil. It works well that way. It does stay glossy, and it doesn't have a flat appearance to it, but it does work. So if you're interested in using up your Nuvo drops that way, that's another great way to use them without having to make perfect little dots. So Oftentimes I go to crops that are not at home, and I actually don't have a huge space at home to let these things dry, so that's another reason I don't use them frequently. Um, and you know, when you're at a crop and you got to pack up at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than having to pack up 4 or 5 pages in your car that have wet Nuvo drops on them. That's never fun. So, multiple reasons. Um, while I finish that up, I will tell you a little bit about my title. My title is just going to be Happy Mother's Day. These photos were taken on Mother's Day at this beach rental that we had. And that photo is with me, my daughter, and Noah. I didn't get a photo with like the whole family. I have a photo of me and my parents, and me and my daughter and Noah, and then me, my daughter, my mom, and Noah. But I decided to use this photo here just because I really like that there's 3 different looks on our faces and stuff. And so they were just really nice photos, and I thought they went well with the theme. So I cut the words Happy Mother's Day on my Silhouette Cameo. I cut it 3 times and I layered them up. I just used Nuvo Deluxe adhesive between the layers, and that gives it added dimension, and you'll see that in the still shots. I don't do a perfect job of getting them aligned, and I'm okay with that. The larger they are, the easier it is to get them aligned, but when they're so tiny, it's really hard to get them lined up perfectly because the glue tends to dry faster than I can actually get it aligned. And you know, from one end of the, like, you start with the M, and by the time you get to the S, the M is dry. So doesn't allow for a lot of movement. So then I pulled out my Arteza pen. It's a white gel pen, and I am probably using 0.6 or 0.8. And I am really happy with these pens. They work great. I did have to test it out on that black piece of paper because I accidentally put them away with the barrel up, or the point up, and I probably should have put them the other way because the ink had run, you know, it was kind of dry. And I am just outlining the thing and the layout with it and giving it a sketchy outline. And I just wrote that the date and that we were at Monterey Dunes. So nothing really exciting in the journaling on this one. There's no story or anything. It's just pretty pictures and just commemorating the day. And I wanted it to have that light, airy feel without adding any black. So that's why I chose that white pen. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up down below, I'd really appreciate it. I will be back again tomorrow with another video. See you then. Bye-bye.